I'm Nicholas Whalen. Join me in discovering the domestic art of keeping animals as pets, as Quaid and Quasi and I share with you some of our pet peeves. It is impossible to know, even remotely, how many animals are unwanted and put in animal protection facilities each year. In Canada alone, it is in the hundreds of thousands of animals. In fact, there is more animals in shelters today, and there continues to be a stream of animals being born whose future may be in question. Joining me today to talk a little bit about this and the importance of humane societies is Kelly Mullally, the Executive Director of the PEI Humane Society. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
So, I've been to the shelter. It's a remarkable institution.
Thank you.
And I want you to tell us a little bit about the mission of what you guys do.
Sure. The PEI Humane Society is the only humane society on Prince Edward Island, so we cover the entire province, and we've been in existence for just about 40 years now. It's around 1974, in July, a group of islanders decided it was important to protect companion animals on PEI, and we're talking about dogs, cats, pets. So our mission is to make sure that those animals have the best possible protection, that they're living and being treated well, and when that's not happening, that we have a facility and people who can protect them.
Now, you have a really unique facility in that you are the only humane society that really represents an entire province, not just a city or a town, but an entire province, albeit a small one, but that's a big task at hand.
It really is. When you're looking at a small group of people, we're a staff of 13, and 2 of those are part-time, and we are taking responsibility for companion animals from tip to tip right across the island. Yeah.
Now, you also have a full-time veterinarian on staff, which I understand to be also unique.
Very rare. She's with us 60% of the time, so not quite full-time, but still a much better situation for us than other shelters in the Maritimes, for sure. Yes, we're very fortunate that way. And we also have an adoption and intake counselor, which a lot of other shelters don't have the luxury of happening. So we're very, very lucky that way.
So talk a little bit about your infrastructure. What's your capacity? What do you offer? I know that you have a dog park as well. I'm not sure if that's linked to the Humane Society, but tell us about the actual building that you have.
Sure. We have a building that's on Sherwood Road, close to the airport in Charlottetown, and it houses comfortably about 100 animals, and that's dogs, cats, and small
And how does
critters.
that compare to other humane societies? Is that small, big?
We're considered medium-sized.
Okay.
But again, because we are covering the entire island, we need to have capacity to be able to help animals right across the island. So about 100 animals. Now, we also have animals that are outside in the community as well through our foster program, and that can be animals that are recovering from surgery, animals that are too young to come into the shelter system yet. So there's probably at any given time about another 50 to 75 animals that are out in the community as well. We do have an off-leash dog park. We have about 2 acres of property on Sherwood Road, so we do operate Charlottetown's only off-leash dog park, and that is just behind our shelter on Sherwood Road. It's by registration, $20 a year for family. Doesn't matter how many dogs that you own, bring them all in. And it's a great safe place for animals to be off-leash, to be able to get some exercise, to be able to socialize with other dogs.
I've been to the dog park on many occasions, and there's a real sense of community there. People go there for as much of the social atmosphere as they do to let their dogs
You
interact.
bet. It's important, and it's nice for dog owners to be able to chat with each other, and sometimes there's a lot of good medicine that happens out there. They get a lot of good advice, share tips, and they have the opportunity to share time with their dogs, which is very important. We really love the fact that people are spending time with their animals.
So are homeless animals a big issue in Prince Edward Island compared to the statistics across the country?
They are. We have just as much of a problem with homeless animals on PEI as right across the country. Conservative estimates nationally are that there are 500,000 animals at any given time in shelters waiting for homes. In PEI, we're really not that much different in a way. We only have a small population of 130,000 people, but 1,000 animals on average will come through our building in a year, and that's huge when you look at it.
So break that down for us. How many animals is that a week? Like on average, what are you seeing coming in?
Sure, and it can be anywhere from 10 in a slower week to 50 or 75 in a busier week. It really does depend. There are seasons to it, but it can be really overwhelming.
So which is a season that you see a great intake?
Spring and fall generally, and it is because cats generally, again, they're 2/3 of our population. More cats come into our care than dogs, and more cats end up being adopted through our adoption program as opposed to going home because they're lost and being rehomed again with their owners. So we're looking at kitten season. So there's a kitten season that happens in the spring and again in the fall, and we're experiencing it right now.
So talk to us a little bit about your animal control program. You have some officers that work directly with you at the Humane Society.
Yes.
How are they positioned out in the field, and how are they caring for shelter animals or homeless animals?
It's a great team of individuals. They are called animal protection officers, and they are our staff, but they work with us, with the community, for those fee-for-service contracts, we call them, and those are municipalities and the provincial government who hire us to enforce their animal protection bylaws and something called the Companion Animal Protection Act on PEI, which protects animal cruelty. So those individuals are literally in our vans, and they're traveling tip to tip across the island, and they're doing routine drives through communities to make sure that bylaw enforcement is happening. But they're also going door to door, and they are investigating complaints that come in for individual cruelty cases.
What is the ratio between the intake and outtake? You know, we know that there's approximately 1,000 animals coming into the shelter every year. How many of them actually get adopted?
Well, we have about 800 animals that are being adopted every year out of that 1,000. And there are about 200 more that are going home. So again, it depends on the year, but a good number of them are being adopted back out. Our first priority is to get lost animals home. That's what we would really like to see happening. We would like to see more animals having appropriate ID on them and microchips, so when they come into our care, we can turn them around and get them out of the shelter. We'd also like to see, obviously, fewer animals come into the system to begin with. We have a real serious pet overpopulation problem on PEI, and there are too many pets that are being created for the number of adopters that are available out there. So our adoption program is really successful, and our rehoming program, we're getting there, but we need more help from the community.
And speaking about help, when we come back after the break, we're going to talk to Kelly about what we can do to help the PEI Humane Society and about some of their needs. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It's been another busy week at the PEI Humane Society, and here's just two little guys among over 20 that have come into the society this week. And joining me is Tim Cheapens, Animal Protection Officer with the shelter. And Tim, I know that you have some big needs.
Absolutely. As many of our other animals, these guys stay in one of our well-equipped kennels. But to provide them with a little bit of extra comfort during their stay, we're always in need of some gently used towels, blankets, old sleeping bags, or even an old dog bed that you're not using anymore. So any type of donation in that area that you can spare, be greatly appreciated.
To learn more about the wish list of the PEI Humane Society, log on to their website at peihumanesociety.com or give them a call at 892-1190. Welcome back to Pet Peeves, exclusively here on Eastlink TV. Today we're talking to the PEI Humane Society, and joining me is Kelly Mullally, the Executive Director. So things are looking great at the PEI Humane Society.
We like to think so, yes. Yes, we're a busy spot, but we're a successful organization as well. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about your development program and what you're doing fundraising-wise. Sure. Do you have any big events each year that you do?
Yeah. Well, we are a nonprofit organization, and we like to help get that information out there because a lot of people on PEI aren't positive about that, but we are a nonprofit organization. We're not directly associated with any level of government, and we don't receive any operational funding from any level of government. So it's very important for us, in order to keep our doors open, to do a lot of fundraising. Islanders are very generous to us, and they are the ones that really do keep our doors open and our programs and services continuing.
So do you have a big event every year? Do you have that one signature event?
We don't, I'll tell you the truth. We try and spread it out throughout the year because we need our funds to come in throughout the year as well, although there are some activities that people will know us for sure. We have pictures with Santa Claus called Santa Pics every Christmas season, which is very, very popular. We have had a dinner and auction component in the spring that we've often had for different reasons. When we needed to acquire a new van for the shelter, we had a Traveling Tales dinner and auction. We will be having a huge event coming up, though, this spring in 2014 because we're celebrating our 40th anniversary on PEI, and we'd like to have a huge bash to celebrate that.
And do you have a sense of what that might look like, or do you have any plans?
We think we're going to have a theme of big band and the 40s because it's going to be our 40th.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we're really looking
And you
forward
need to keep
that.
some secrets.
And we need to keep some secrets, that's right.
Right. So what are the big needs of the Humane Society? As I mentioned before the break, throughout the season of Pet Peeves, you'll see small little tidbits of information from Tim Cheapens, the Animal Protection Officer at the PEI Humane Society, about how you can give back and really what some of the core needs of the shelter are. But maybe we could touch on some of them. First of all, I know that you have a real need for cat litter.
Yes.
And it hits me somewhat comical, but it was a huge need, and I learned that in our piece.
It's true, but people don't really think about that necessarily as one of our big expenses, but it's huge. When you think that 2/3 of the population in our building is cats, and that every day those cats need a clean litter box, if you own a cat, you can just do the math yourself and figure out that adds up to a heck of a lot of cat litter every year, and that's something that we have to buy right out of our budget. It's thousands of dollars every year. It would be one of our largest out-of-pocket expenses, actually.
So you're happy to accept donations of cat litter?
You bet.
Any specific type of cat litter?
Yeah, it gets a little tricky for us because of the building and our drainage system. We don't use that new clumping litter as much as the old-fashioned, bigger, grainier litter. That's the stuff that we really like. It works better in our system with our litter boxes and our drainage system, but we'll take both kinds for sure. But that old-fashioned, non-clumping cat litter is the one that we really use a lot of. Clumping litter we also use in smaller amounts, but any litter, more than welcome.
And what about food? I know a lot of people, I get a lot of questions personally that people want to drop off food to the Humane Society.
Right.
Is that a good idea?
Absolutely, but we don't need donations. We're in a very good position that our dry cat and dog food is donated to us, so we don't need that to come in from the public. However, we do go through an awful lot of canned food because it's good for us for picky eaters, animals that are having a bit of a hard time adjusting to life in the shelter and may have gone off their food a bit, and also when we need to administer medications. So canned food is very handy for us. That we do not have a donation program for, so we really do rely on the community to donate that for us to help us offset that expense as well.
So viewers at home who want to donate something,
yes,
give us some items that we can donate, things we might have at home already that we don't even know about.
You bet. It's very important for us to make the animals as comfortable as possible in their kennels. So we use a lot of blankets and towels and sheets. If anybody's doing some spring or fall cleaning at home and they have those items that are gently used but still in good shape and want to bring them down to us, absolutely, we can use them all the time. Simple things as well that they may not be using anymore, toys that their pets may be bored with but are still in good shape. Very important again for us to keep the animals entertained in their kennels as well.
A lot of people envision that they sit in these cages
Right.
and they don't have any interaction with human beings
Right.
other than the people that come to shop for them, but
Yeah.
that's not the case.
Right. No, not at all. We try and make, obviously, life for these animals as comfortable as possible while they're with us, and it's really important for us to do that because a happy animal is a healthy animal. So not only are they being cared for every day by our shelter staff, but we also have a wonderful community of volunteers who come in and work with the animals. So every animal gets out of its cage, every animal has time for personal interaction, every animal gets a chance to play and relax and have some fun. We try and make it as happy a place as we can, for sure. And the best way to see that is by coming down and seeing it yourself.
Sure
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Now you have a bit of a contingent of volunteers there as well. And so if there are people at home that might be interested in taking part, giving a few hours each week, not
Right.
everyone can afford to give out of pocket or
No.
have things at home, so if they want to give of their time,
Yeah.
that's of equal benefit really.
Oh, absolutely. It's gold to us. We have over 8,000 hours a year that are donated by our volunteers. It's just phenomenal. And you're right, it doesn't have to be every day. It can be a gift that you give of your time once a month. And it can be of your choosing. If you're a cat person and you'd like to come in and play with some of the cats, wonderful. If you're just a dog person and you want to come in and maybe take a dog or two out for a walk, we can do that too. It's a formal program. We have an application process and we have a training process, but it's something that we like to make flexible, so it's wonderful for us, but it's great for the volunteers as well. Really rewarding.
So at the end of the day, what do you really hope is the take-home message that you give to folks?
We hope that the community will continue to work with us. It's really important for us to have members of the community who are calling us when they need help, who are calling us when they see something happening that just doesn't feel right to them and they think there's an animal out there that needs help, that the communication is there and that we work together, because we're not going to find the solutions all by ourselves at the Humane Society. We need to work with residents, we need to work with municipalities, we need to work with other welfare organizations like Cat Action Team and SPAY PEI to find a solution to the pet overpopulation program.
Well, thank you for being here and telling us about all the wonderful work that you do. When we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about animal adoption specifically. And if you'd like to help the PEI Humane Society, please log on to the website at the bottom of your screen or give them a call. We'll be right back. It's been another busy week at the PEI Humane Society. Joining me is Tim Cheapens, who's an APO with the shelter here. Tim, thank you for having us in.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Tell us a little bit about what your needs are.
Well, as the island's only shelter, we work from tip to tip on the island. So we have 2 vans that we use to transport all of the animals. Those vans take quite a beating over the year because we do a lot of kilometers. So any donation that would help us maintain these vans and help us provide care all over the island would definitely be helpful. Things like wind washer fluid, motor oil, any cash donations that we can use to maintain these vans be greatly appreciated.
To learn more about how you can help the PEI Humane Society, please log on to their website at peihumanesociety.com or give them a call at 892-1190. Welcome back to Pet Peeves right here on Eastlink TV, and joining me now is Erin Mullen, the adoption counselor at the PEI Humane Society. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So, Erin, tell me a little bit about what you do at the shelter.
Well, I help people make the best match possible. If people come in looking for a cat or dog, I try to talk to them a little bit and find out what their family is like and what they're looking for and make the best matches.
Okay, so I've decided I perhaps want to adopt an animal from the PEI Humane Society.
Yes.
I come to visit you, and what's the process?
Well, we find out which animals you're interested in. We have cats, dogs, and then all of our critters, small critters like rabbits and hamsters and gerbils. So we point you in the direction, and people kind of look through the cages and read the bios on the animals, and one may stick out to them, and they'll just ask us questions, and we tell them as much as we can about the animal. If they were an owner-surrendered animal, of course, I usually have more information about what they were like before they came to the shelter. And if they're a stray that has come into our care, I'll tell the people what we know since the animal has come to the shelter. And we just talk about their family and then start making those matches. And if it's a cat, we take the cat out of the kennel and have some playtime. If it's a dog, we have a special room called our Get Acquainted room, where we'll bring the whole family in and the dog in, and everybody gets to have a nice relaxed meet and greet.
Mm-hmm. So what are some things to consider for viewers at home if they're considering adopting an animal? How do they know if they're a right fit for a rescue animal?
Well, we have so many different kinds of animals, and they all have different personalities. So it really, it depends too on the breed, especially with the dog, you know, and the activity level of the family. And sometimes people come in with certain ideas, and I let them know this is what you'd have to do with the dog when it goes into your care, and maybe they think that's not the right match for me, and we keep looking until we get that right match.
Now, what are the costs associated with adopting an animal from the PEI Humane Society?
Our adult dogs, that's any dog over 6 months, is $195. And for puppies, that's anything under 6 months, it's $245. And that includes all of the vaccinations up to date, a microchip, flea treatment, deworming, spay and neuter surgery. And if it's cats, we have a couple of different programs. Adult cats are 6 months and up, and they are $145. Kittens are 6 months and younger, and they're $195.
Now, is there an application process, a screening process that people have to undergo before adopting?
We do have an application that you can do in the shelter in a paper copy, or you can go online to our website and fill out the application. Online, it automatically gets submitted to me. And our applications are done up so that if you're adopting a dog, you do a dog application, cat application, or critter application.
Mm-hmm. And moving forward, so you've adopted the animal, what kind of support system do you guys offer post-adoption?
I always say to everyone as they're leaving out the door, if you ever notice any changes in health or behavior, please call me. And we'll do our best to help you out. We can help, with some problem behaviors that might come up in the house, like maybe jumping on people coming to the door if it's a dog. So if people have a problem with that, they can give me a call, and I'll try my best to give them some tips and ideas, and also any resources. I can point them in directions of good books and things on the internet, any handouts that I have. As well, we have clicker trainers that work with us at the shelter through the AVC.
Mm-hmm. So for viewers at home who are not familiar with clicker training, can you tell us what that is?
Clicker training is marker reward training, and it's a little box you hold in your hand and you press it and it gives a little click. Mm-hmm. And you do that whenever the dog does something correctly. So it very quickly marks that correct behavior that you want. Mm-hmm. And it can be done with all sorts of animals, fish, dolphins, chickens, horses, cats, dogs, bunnies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel is the greatest benefit to adopting an animal versus maybe going to a breeder? I know I talk to a lot of people who are in the market, if you will, to get a new animal, mm-hmm. and they're trying to decide, should I go with a breeder or should I go and adopt one from a shelter or Humane Society? And I really feel that there is a place for both in the pet industry, and that's great. But what do you think the value of adopting from a shelter is over maybe going to a breeder first?
Well, I have personally found that it is very rewarding adopting from a shelter because you really know that the animals need a home. And I don't know if it's just me, but they always they seem to know, that they were rescued and given a home, and it just makes you feel good too, I guess.
That's great. So what's the one thing you love about your job every day? I'm sure you're happy to go to work. And
one of my favorite things is helping people with behavior issues, like my cat stopped peeing in the litter box. What do I do, Erin? I don't want to have to surrender them to the shelter, but we really need help fixing this. So I love helping people and helping them keep their animals in their home so that they don't have to be surrendered to the shelter. And I just really like seeing people make connections with the animals, and they give me lots of great feedback and send me pictures and stories of happy adoptions, and I think I have the best job on PEI.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much for being here and telling us all about animal adoption. If you'd like to reach out to the PEI Humane Society, every week here on Pet Peeves, you'll see a wish list of how you can give back to them. You can log on to the information at the bottom of your screen to get in touch. Until next time, thanks for joining us here on Pet Peeves, exclusively on Eastlink TV.